Welcome to another episode of That's Some Crazy Shit with Kelly and James. My name is Kelly and my co-host is Mr. James. What's up, buddy?
Oh, you know how it is. No, we just go through all that.
And the answer is, I don't know how it is. That's why I'm asking.
It's good here in the corner studio. You know, I sit and I have the view.
That's nice. That's nice. So, we are back for the beginning of season 7. Woohoo! This is episode 1, season 7. We're back.
That's funny because there's a lot of people that think we're going to make season 1.
Right? And here we are. And we even are kicking off it with a guest.
Of course.
Of course. So today we're talking to a retired physician by the name of Robert Yoho. He's written a couple of books. One is called Butchered by Healthcare: What to Do About Big Pharma, Corrupt Government Ruining Your Health Medical Care. And the second one is called Hormone Secrets. So can you kind of guess what his thing's about? Can you kind of guess where his head's at?
No. Tell me.
He is somebody who really believes that our government is corrupt as well as the FDA. He is someone who has really more like a whistleblower, really on the ass of Big Pharma and really trying to expose what Big Pharma does with his books and his research. And he is actually going to be our guest today to talk about his crazy shit.
Right on. Because you know what, I do believe there's a lot of fucking corruption going on in the medical field.
Well, believe it or not, people, medicine is a business.
Big business.
It's I would like to say it's all about you and your health, but at the end of the day, you are a dollar sign, or not a dollar sign, you are a number on a spreadsheet. So, yeah. Should we just get right to it?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome our guest for the beginning of season 1, retired doctor and author, Robert Yoho.
Not season 1.
Did I say season 1?
Yeah. 7, baby.
Season 7, episode 1.
There you go. See, you thought I wasn't paying attention.
I did. Doctor retired Robert Yoho. Robert, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being a part of That's Some Crazy Shit. Welcome.
Okay, Kelly, I'm pretty serious about this. I don't think it's that crazy, but I'll do my best.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Hormones are crazy when you're a woman and you're in your 50s and you're starting to go through menopause and all this stuff is going on. And just one day, just all of these things, for me personally, hot flashes, especially at night. What the hell? Just
James,
out of the blue.
James, did I just hear our girlfriend here admit she was crazy? That's a first.
I could have told you that a long time ago. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have picked up on that. Okay, so 10-second disclaimer. Because of the plaintiff's lawyers and all that stuff, we can't consider this healthcare. And it's used at this material at your own risk. And if you have problems, you need a licensed provider. And this is just general commentary. So crazy hormones and what happens when you go through 50. So women at 50 drop off a cliff. They frequently, their ovaries become completely inactive. And instead of tapering, like James and I are in the midst of a long taper, with no real fall off at the end. Typically men, we lose it, but it doesn't happen in one day. But women frequently go through this menopause, very dramatic change of life, where their hormone levels drop nearly to zero over a very short period of time. They have hot flashes. They have, they have irritability. They have muscle wasting. They have, and men and women have intellectual decline. The testosterone really helps with that. So, and testosterone is our best weight loss drug we've ever had. It's phenomenal. So
it's good to know.
So you've never considered any of this, have you, Kelly?
Well, for starters, most women, you know, you hear about menopause, right? But you don't really know about it until you go through it. And then when you do go through it, it just kind of hits you all at once. You really don't know what to do. There's a ton of information out there, but then what do you do? If you go to your physician, they're going to have you take all of these different drugs until you figure out the one that works for you. I'm more of a holistic person. I don't like, you know, so I'm trying to find the solution for me, and I have yet to find it. So I don't know what to do.
Well, Kelly, actually going through different doses of medications is an excellent strategy, and I try to put the woman in charge when I was practicing. Of course, I'm retired now, but hormone replacement should be universally available, and it's super safe. We've had experience with these drugs for, in the case of thyroid, 120 years. With estrogen, progesterone, and thyroid, we've had experience with them for 50, 60, 70 years. We know all about the endocrine systems thoroughly. And unfortunately, in the early 2000s, there was an agenda to scare everybody to death about hormone replacement. And that resulted in the FDA, which is your basic fraud, putting black box warnings, which are the most severe kind of warnings, onto all the hormones, each of the hormones, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. And so an estrogen was branded with the breast cancer idea. And the study that did that was the most expensive study in history, probably. It cost nearly $1 billion, multiple centers, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of patients. And the people, it was called the Women's Health Initiative, and they had an agenda, and at the end they kind of proved it because their conclusions didn't match up with their data. And this thing has been run down subsequently by many commentators, but once a bell is rung, it's hard to unring it. So these are phenomenal drugs. They should be used for basically everybody over 50 and a lot of people under 50 who've had premature menopause. And they're better than just symptom relief. I believe that they prolong life, and they certainly make you stronger and make you more sexual and make you feel far better. And here's a teaser. At the end of my book, Hormone Secrets, I put an appendix which backs this statement up, and that is that if we put all women on estrogen at the time of their menopause, we'd prevent 85% of the Alzheimer's. Now, that's a big statement, and that sounds like fraud, but I have 75 references in Appendix C that prove that that statement's correct. So I mean, there's so many positive things about hormones, and I mean, I can read a couple of testimonials if you'd like, or we can go whatever direction you want.
So I'm interested. So the drugs that you're saying that would help are estrogen, testosterone, and what else?
Progesterone, thyroid. The men mainly just need testosterone. There's a few other ones that aren't quite as powerful, but such as DHEA, and you can get that over the counter, but it's not as good as the long-acting DHEA that is typically prescribed, with a prescription and this is not done universally. I mean, the doctors aren't really trained to do it. It should be in the hands of every family practitioner, if the information were true. But you guys probably are well aware that the FDA they cooperate with big pharma companies to ruin the studies that make that make up our medical literature. And in fact, the British Medical Journal published an editorial last year entitled "Time to Assume That Medical Science is Fraudulent Until Proven Otherwise," because all the studies are paid for by pharmaceutical companies. And in fact, my vision of some of the contractors, the pharmaceutical contractors, are that there are kids in a Pakistani basement with a baseball cap on. So, I mean, it's just crazy. They fake things from whole cloth. They adulterate the data. They're just basically a branch of the marketing department of these companies. And we've learned about it most recently when we've watched these guys do backflips to approve this horrific, toxic, supposed immunization for our littlest babies who don't need it and who are injured by it. So, but that's a side note. We should continue on the hormones today.
So when it comes to the hormones, if you're saying that estrogen works, then why aren't people getting prescribed estrogen?
Oh my God, Kelly, that's the question. The problem is, in America and the world, that the industry runs the show, and the bioidentical estrogens, which are the best, are actually natural components of the human body, and those are not allowed to be patented. So they're trying to sell patented antidepressants and patented statin drugs to bring you down your cholesterol, instead of just, and other things, many other things, instead of just prescribing the hormones that would keep you going, make you feel great, and have all kinds of other positive effects. And so why aren't they doing it right? Well, that's the big question about the rest of medicine. 50% of what we do is either harmful or doesn't work. And we spend twice in America what other countries spend on healthcare. It's a stunning red pill when you finally get it.
So, doctor, how does someone like myself go about getting testosterone if I found I needed it or felt like I needed it?
Well, what you do first, spend $4, buy a copy of my book, and there's referral sources. Unfortunately, medical care these days requires almost physician level expertise to navigate. And so I advise education before anything else. Figure it all out. And you maybe have a little pot belly and your things aren't working down below as well as they should, and maybe you can't jog anymore because you're kind of tired and worn out, and maybe you feel like you got old timers disease and can't remember as much as you did. I mean, I don't know whether you have any of those things, but I'm 68. Yeah, I'm 68 and I've got plenty of problems. So what you do is you find yourself a doctor who does this stuff, and I recommend this worldlinkmedical.com. That's my group. It's a smaller group, but there are many doctors who prescribe hormones, and the endocrinologists are not your first stop, because they're singing the song with the drug companies. And although they have great expertise in certain area, like sometimes with certain diseases, and possibly thyroid care for some of them, they aren't straight hormone prescribers. They're not typically prescribing hormones to replace diseases of the elderly, like I did when I was in practice. So there are a lot of people doing this, and there are a lot of well-trained people, but for the most part, the doctors are freaking ignorant.
Is it just because of they don't want to go against the standard or the norm that they don't want to look at this stuff?
It's, I look at these guys and I'm kind of ashamed of them, and I wonder if they're bribed, or they're stupid, or they're afraid. And it ends up that just like the current vax narrative, right? None of the three are really true. They're in the midst of a kind of mass hypnosis that's kind of gone throughout our society, and everybody's walking in at least a third of them have been taken back down by the insane narrative and think that it's all true. The rest of us are looking at mass media, we're looking at CNN and Facebook and everything else, and we realize it's a pack of lies from the start to the finish. And so that's the reason. The real reason is not that they're stupid, they're smart. It's the largest group of smart people in America. There's 1 million doctors. And even though, Kelly, they're a pain in the butt, I know you work with them, you can't ever say that as a group they're stupid, but they are capable of being hypnotized. And there's a Belgian psychologist that calls this mass formation. And this mass formation has gone throughout our societies internationally. And everybody's walking in lockstep, and they believe the nonsense that is purported as news. And you guys, you should look at my Substack for more details about that. I write about that stuff all the time. It's robertyoho.substack.com, and that's an uncensored platform as of yet. This thing, if it goes on Facebook or YouTube, we have to be careful what we say, because the censors are looking over our shoulders. So you mention any key words, like whatever the disease is we're talking about, or the purported cure, sometimes they get pulled.
Right. So I'm interested.
I think you're a skeptical person, Kelly. I can see it in your eyes.
I'm not skeptical, but I have a question.
Skepticism is a strength.
I have a lot of questions though. So my first question is, because I want to go back to the hormones. So, because this is, I think, where most people get stuck. if I am looking to find somebody to help me get relief for my hormone symptoms, should I start with my primary care doctor or should I go to a specialist? Where should I go? I realize I have your book and I think it's great to get all the information so that when you do go see these doctors, you're armed with everything that you need. But where should you begin?
Okay, so I think worldlinkmedical.com, it has several hundred physicians. You're in an urban area. I know you can find somebody in Denver in this group, so I'd recommend that group. But there are other hormone groups one's called A4M, American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. Their training is less uniform, and some of them believe in magic crystals and God knows what. You know what I mean. I mean, they're alternative doctors. But for the most part, people are starting to catch on about the hormones. But you're just as bright as the doctors, and both of you. And I recommend you figure it out yourselves. Read my book, look at the reference. I mean, I have 500 references in each book, and understand what you're getting in for. And basically, the biggest problem with the prescribers is they're too conservative. They're afraid to do it because of these black box warnings. And James, a black box warning is this horrible warning you're supposed to be scared to death of serious harm or injury if you take a drug. But these are absolutely fraudulent. I mean, we have a huge literature that I cite that every single warning is nonsense concocted by the FDA at the behest of the pharmaceutical companies who want to sell patent drugs, which are profitable. I mean, now some of them are thousands of dollars a pill. I mean, it's just, everybody's gone crazy. Their greed is beyond imagining.
I ran into that just recently when I had some surgery. They wanted me to take an antibiotic that was like $150, $200 a pill. And most surgeries you can get by with something. You either take an oral antibiotic right before the surgery, or you get a shot during the surgery, and that's the end of it. There are some surgeries that you need to take antibiotics for a week or two, but that's a rare, far between. I mean, I had a total shoulder replacement. They gave me, the dentist gave me some antibiotics when I went to the dentist a few weeks later, just one dose. And during the surgery, they gave me some intravenous antibiotics, and that was it. But, there are probably a few things that it makes some sense, but you have to be your own doctor these days and figure it out. And some of it's just a bunch of nonsense, and some of it is kind of habits by the doctors. It's just, they're not really scientific.
Well, isn't medicine just evidence-based? You follow the steps, basically. Isn't that what medicine is today? Evidence-based medicine?
You're too impressed with the doctors. You gotta get away from that. You look skeptical.
No, I'm not saying that I'm impressed. I'm asking you, isn't medicine today practiced as being evidence-based? I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying that's what they practice. Doctors practice evidence-based medicine. They have a formula. If you come in and say, I have this, they take you through certain steps and they treat your symptoms. But is that medicine?
I'm laughing, but it's dark humor. And if you guys I studied this stuff for 5 years, and I started out as pretty much a standard item. I believed in all the stories. But when you learn more about it, you realize that evidence-based medicine it's a pail of brown stuff, because for the most part, the studies are ruined, and they're all done at the behest of the company trying to sell whatever the heck it is they're selling. And it's easy to ruin a study. All you have to do is either you get in and stir around the statistics a little bit. Sometimes you fake a few patients, and sometimes you put it out in broad daylight using these statistical tricks that the doctors don't have time to look at. I mean, these guys, it's hard for me to throw stones at them because I know how consuming practicing medicine is. It's very difficult. They not only have got to be nice to everybody and slap all the patients on the back and all that stuff, but they have to, in theory, catch up with all the stuff that's what's going on, and they can't. They end up with the Obamacare thing. They ended up spending 40% of their time just on the charting. These guys have to go home at night and click on the computer in order to get paid, and it's a sad scene. I mean, they're sharp people. They should be doing evidence-based medicine, but evidence-based medicine has turned into a bad joke, and that's the answer to your question. It doesn't freaking work because the doctors are not able to do it, and the science is in the hands of the entrepreneurs. That's the kindest way to put it. Really, they're in the hands of the criminals. You guys probably know this, but big pharma is the most criminal industry in history, and the reason is that they have lost or settled more criminal cases than any industry in history. It's $87 billion since 2000, which is stunning. It's a fall out of the chair moment once you understand it. And so those guys, they'll do anything for the next buck.
Wow. And so, doctor, is the rest of the world's medical establishment as corrupt as ours?
No, they're not quite as bad. And we're all colleagues here. You don't have to doctor me, right? You can call me Robert. But the problem here is so much money is coming into America that, we use, I forget exactly what the numbers are, but we're only about 4.5% of the world population, and we must use 30% plus or 40% of all the prescription drugs because we've got systems that pay for them in place. I mean, they're all started very idealistically. And, we use private health insurance, and that's all administered by these crazy insurance companies. And that's the Medicare, the private health insurance, the work comp, the whole thing is administered by insurance companies. And that's is another layer of people that really don't care how much it costs. And they take 20% off the top. So that's unique, almost unique to America. There are insurance companies in other countries, but it's not as pervasive as here. And so the amount of money that's spent and the corruption that results is unique to America. Singapore gets by with 5% of their gross domestic product into healthcare. We spend 20%. It's stunning. We spend $4 trillion out of our gross domestic product to whatever it is, 20 plus 25 trillion on healthcare. And, everybody else is spending 10. Canada, England, Australia, they all spend 10% of their GDP. And per person, we spend more. So, I mean, it's terrible here. I mean, it's just terrible. You can get good care, but you have to watch the people like a hawk because there's so many perverse incentives that you're liable to get shunted into an unnecessary surgery, or we have 50 to 70% of our whole entire population taking prescription medications, and if you don't think that is insane, I don't know what to tell you. We have many nursing home patients that take 20 prescriptions, and that it's never been studied. I mean, no medication is studied in combination with another. So we've got 20 of them all interacting with each other, and it can't be good. I mean, there's a whole specialty field of trying to get people off of these medications.
Yeah, big pharma really has a lot to do with corruption. And you're right about the medications. And so that's why I was asking about, is it medicine? Is it medicine when doctors aren't really able to practice medicine because of all the red tape that goes into trying to practice medicine?
Exactly. So the way it works is we're indiscriminate about what we do. So there are entire fields like back surgery that if you study what we're doing, they're completely ineffective, right? It just doesn't freaking work. But if somehow we could, and psychiatry is probably the most corrupt specialty in all of medicine. I mean, we've got these drugs that are actually harmful. I mean, it's just horrible. There's none of them are any good. They have 4 classes of drugs. And the SSRIs like Prozac promote suicide and violence. That's what we're seeing now with these mass shooters. They're all triggered by taking all these drugs. Mm-hmm. The atypical antipsychotics shorten lifespan by 10 to 20 years. The amphetamines shrink the kids' brains, and nobody in charge thinks it's a good thing now to give amphetamines to 20% of our little kids. We've got 20% of the entire population on psych drugs. The benzos are very addictive. Xanax is a horrible drug. I mean, that stuff, it goes away in 2 to 3 hours, and the people go, I feel panicky again. It's an anti-anxiety. And the studies that were initially done on it were were basically ruined studies, because for the first 3 weeks it seemed to work, and the next 3 weeks it didn't work. And then when they tried to withdraw the people from the Xanax, everybody just felt terrible, but they let it get approved anyway. I mean, it's crazy. And the Prozac class, the SSRIs, Germany initially rejected them, but the power of these pharma companies is so profound that they play games like claiming they're going to move their manufacturing out of a country like they did in England. I mean, it's just nuts.
Wow. Robert, we're going to definitely have to have you come back so we can definitely get into your other book, Butchered by Healthcare, so we can talk more about big pharma and the corruption, and really talk about the FDA as well. I don't think a lot of people really understand the reach or really what the FDA does.
These federal agencies are all corrupt, and the CDC and the FDA and the World Health Organization, they're all working against us, and they're basically trying to push agendas, of their own, and agendas of these billionaires. So I can talk about all that stuff. You guys review my Substack a little bit and see if there are specific topics you like. And we really didn't get too much of the hormones today, but we can talk about that again if you'd like.
Absolutely. It's just so interesting. We could just go so many places when we talk to you. So it's easy to get distracted from one topic to another. So we'll most definitely have you come back. I'm going to check out it's worldlinkmedical.com, right?
That's correct. That was my group when I practiced, and they have a list of physicians. There's some in the Denver, Aurora area, I'm sure. And those guys have uniform training. And the A4M, there are an awful lot of those. There's 20,000 of them nationwide. And some of them are okay, but they do some stuff that's a little irrational sometimes, in my opinion. I mean, they promote topical progesterone, skin surface progesterone cream. That doesn't work. You got to take it orally. So those are some other ideas. Look, guys, it's a pleasure. An hour we do better. I do better at an hour. I like to rant. So when you get going on one of these rants, anyways, thank you so much for having me. It's robertyohoauthor.com, robertyoho.substack.com. And I have if you just go on Apple podcasts or any of those, I've got a surviving healthcare podcast.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Right on. It's funny because it's like you always think this stuff is happening, but you're really not sure. And then when you have someone come out and say, yeah, it's happening, I'm sure.
The thing I liked about him, and it's twofold. I did like and didn't like. I did like that he talked about a lot of things. I didn't like that we talked about a lot of things, right? I wanted to stay on topic, but it's like he when he started talking about one thing, that would bring up something else, and we're over here, and then we're over here. So I like talking to him, but oh my God, it's so hard to stay focused with all the information that this man has.
Well, that's just kind of how we are anyway. That's how we run. That's how we roll.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about hormones because hormones are crazy shit, James.
They are crazy.
They're crazy. Okay, so being a woman of menopause age, and I just never ever thought I would say that. That's so crazy to me. And not really paying attention to menopause and really, what happened to me. And one day it did. And the thing that trips me out about menopause, right, are the hot flashes. Now, I have never had a hot flash before. And then one day I had a hot flash. And then there was another one and another one. And now they're constant. So when all this first happened, and this is what I wanted to talk to him about, but I'll talk to you, James, because you're my good friend and buddy. So when all this stuff first started happening to me, I went to my doctor, who at the time, my primary care doctor, who at the time was a woman. And all I said was hot flashes. She's like, say no more. I got you. Here's some estrogen, low dose, should work immediately. And it did. And for, a year or whatever, I was good. No hot flashes, felt fine. No side effects from the estrogen, nothing. I felt nothing. And then one day she was no longer my doctor because she left, and I had this new doctor. One day I went to go fill the estrogen, and the pharmacy couldn't fill it because the doctor wouldn't let them, because I now have a new doctor, right?
Is the new doctor male or female?
The new doctor is male. I go see the new doctor. I say, hot flash, estrogen, please. And he's like, nope. You know, estrogen causes cancer. I'm going to give you a low dose antidepressant. That should knock out those hot flashes. And guess what? It did not.
Oh, hold on, time out. So once again, a man telling a woman what she needs for her body.
Thank you. So, and so I took the prescription, but I probably shouldn't, but I did. I even tried it, and I'm not one for pills. If you know me, you know I'm not one for pills. I even tried it because obviously I want to get rid of the hot flashes, but it almost felt like it made them more intense, right? So I stopped taking them, and I contemplated on what to do. What do I do? What do I do? Because I have a feeling he's not going to prescribe me estrogen because he says it causes cancer. But my retort to that is, doesn't everything cause cancer these days?
That's true. That walking outside causes cancer.
Doesn't the sun cause cancer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to get rid of the hot flashes. So I decided I'm going to take healthcare into my own hands.
Hey, wait a minute. A woman deciding she's going to take over the decisions for her own body's health.
I know, it's crazy, huh?
Radical
I'm a
thinking.
radical. I'm a radical.
You are.
And I'm going to go see my OBGYN woman doctor, who I'm sure will shower me with estrogen. That is what my goal is.
I can just see it.
Estrogen. Because it's crazy. And the funny thing is that I don't understand, and that's what I was trying to tell Robert, is why do I, if we know estrogen works, then why do I gotta go take all these other medications? Because my doctor, the male primary doctor, said, oh, if the low dose antidepressant doesn't work, there's other things we can try. Well, I don't want to try other things. I want to try what I know works. And that was the very low dose of estradiol that the female doctor was happy to give me. I didn't even ask her for it. She just, when I said hot flash, she was like, say no more. I got you. Because I think she gets it. Is it because you guys just don't get it? I don't think you guys get it. That's all I'm saying.
Hey man, I get it. Because when it comes to women rights to their body, it's your body. I don't know. You know what I mean? As a doctor, I could say, well, this might work, and this might be the case too. He might have to follow a certain procedure for insurance reasons, because I've had doctors tell me that too.
But my other doctor didn't, and it's my same insurance. He just doesn't want to. I mean, and granted, he says it causes cancer. He's looking out for my best interest. Great. But I believe that maybe, like Dr. Robert Yoho said, maybe the information, the studies are corrupt because Big Pharma wants us taking something else.
Actually, it's funny. I never thought about it when I just assumed in my I'm naive about the subject, that the government was funding these kind of as a nonpartisan, looking out for the
the clinical trials?
Yeah, the clinical trials. I don't know why. I just assumed that.
No.
And then it's like, wow. And then it's funny because I've always wondered too. It's like you have countries in Europe who've been using drugs and procedures for decades now, and yet America won't do it because we're still doing studies. Well, it's like, is Europe and the rest of the world, are they like in the dark ages? Do they not, are they not in the same time we are,
Well, I think you would have to go under the assumption that the United States has the best health care in the world.
We do. I mean, we have better than some.
We have better than some, but it's not the best. There are others that are better.
Yeah.
Right. We do not have like the best healthcare on the planet, as you were led to believe. Right. You're led to believe. So that is my story with the hormones, and that's what I was trying to tell Robert, but he got on a tangent. But I did download his book, Hormone Secrets. I will check out the link, worldlinkmedical.com, and we'll have him come back and we'll talk about some other stuff.
Yeah, I really want to get more into the corruption in the medical field and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that, my friend, is also our random bullshit.
What?
What we just did.
Oh. I thought that was just part of our thing, and then we were still going to do random bullshit.
I guess we can. I just thought that was random bullshit because it was just, well, I guess it wasn't really random, but it was because I just told the 3 people besides us, so that other person who listens, you now know about my hot flashes, and you now know that as a woman, I'm in menopause.
Well, you know, too, we have more than one other listener. I know of at least 3.
Okay, so wait, the 5 of us now know.
Yeah. Come on, man. Give us credit.
Do you have anything for random bullshit?
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about this. I had a question for you, and I guess I maybe should ask you this earlier to give you time to think about it. But if you had an encounter with a cryptid or some kind of paranormal activity, so think Bigfoot, Loch Ness, any of those, ghosts, whatever, UFO, which one would you prefer to have contact with? Now, bear in mind, all of these can be traumatic. I'm not going that far. I'm just saying casual sighting, so that enough that you now believe. Which one?
So if I could pick, like, what cryptid I got to encounter, you're asking me which one I would encounter?
Or would you want to see a UFO? Or would you want to see a ghost? Or
I think, honestly, if I got to pick, I would want to see a UFO and a dragon. Those are my 2 things. I'm good with the ghost. I'm good with Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Mind you, I just want to see the UFO. We ain't got to encounter. We ain't got to.
We're not being.
We ain't got a fist bump. I see it. Yeah. I know it's real. Right. I know what the fuck I saw, type thing. Right. Yes. Right. Same with the dragon. There it is. I see it. Whoa, it's a dragon. Oh my God! Get your camera. Snap, snap, snap. Not encountering the dragon. Not chasing the dragon. Dragon doesn't see me. That type of thing. No danger in that. Encountering,
because I was thinking about that too, because any one of those things can be fucking dramatic.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, not trying to just see it. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. So yes, those are my 2 things that I would want to see. What would you want to see?
Well, I've already seen enough of a couple to believe in those. Ghosts, paranormal activity, ghosts, and well, actually, I've seen 3. Really, I thought I saw a UFO before too. So those 3. But I would like to see a UFO again enough to say yes, because the first time I didn't know, and it was too. It just wasn't enough.
Gotcha. I got you.
So UFO, and that would be one. Oh, let's see. Probably Bigfoot. I would like to encounter.
I was gonna say, oh my God, would it be Bigfoot?
Yeah.
God, what a stretch!
All right, if I couldn't see Bigfoot, then if he was out, well, I'd like to see like a chupacabra, like a one from Puerto Rico chupacabra, not this Texas American chupacabra.
Oh, there's a difference.
Yes, there is a difference.
We're choosing our chupacabras now.
Well, I don't know how it turned from one to the other, but
maybe it gets around.
Maybe it's a shapeshifter.
Maybe. Maybe. Huh, that's funny. Well, James, this is a great segue to say that you can check out all of our social media on our website, thatsomecrazyshitpodcast.com. There's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Are we LinkedIn appropriate yet?
You know what? We're not LinkedIn because of the word shit. That's the only reason why. So I could create a LinkedIn and say that's some crazy star in the middle T. It might take that. It might have to be that some crazy S, star T. But LinkedIn was very particular about the word shit, which these days that's like the most mild of all the cuss words, right? I mean,
oh, I know, it's not even a cuss word.
Is it?
I think it's funny because when our guests come on, they're like, "Can I cuss?" It's like, well, we got shit in the title. Go ahead.
And it's like it's there's so many more bad words. Which This was my question, and we can save this for next time. So next time we'll talk about this. It's like, who said that this was going to be a bad word, right?
Oh, George Carlin did a thing on that, and it was it's the FTC or whoever's in charge of broadcast.
But who said? Who, even before them? Who said? Like, who even invented? Where did the word fuck even come from? Is it a British word? Is it a German word? Where did it come from? Is it a Danish word? Is it a Hebrew word? Where did it come from? That's what I'm saying. Who
it came
said?
From you on the playground.
Did it?
That's where I learned it.
Whatever. All right, dude. Until next time.
Keep your minds open, people.